Hi everyone, my name's Nat, though I go by Natalie Haku online. I am a cartoon and comic art student at Staffordshire University and I will be starting my third and final year there this September. Today I just wanted to give you guys a little sketchbook tour. So this one was from a 2019 brief we got, where we had to fill up a sketchbook with personal work that we would later submit to be marked. I like to keep sketchbooks personally anyway, so it's something I would definitely recommend as well. It helps you to learn new skills and improve with your artwork, but it also shows your dedication and passion for a subject, which goes a long way in interviews with portfolios. So, let's get started. These first few pages, I just have the brief written out. I like to have an introduction at the start of my sketchbooks. And these are some photos from the 2019 degree show. I thought some of the setups were really cool. I just wanted to keep photos of them for inspiration when it came to my own final degree show. I also like to keep my sketchbooks sort of like visual diaries, so all of this was from a trip to London that I took, but I mostly went so that I could go to the manga exhibition at the British Museum. I'm very inspired by manga, so I just had to go to this exhibition and it was so cool, but I was really inspired after I went there as well, so I did a couple of pieces inspired by some of the work that I saw while I was down there. I attend a lot of comic conventions when I can. I love collecting business cards of artists at these events, so I just wanted to display all of them. Just some doodles for practice. I find it fun to just sort of sketch freely whenever I can. For these ones, I drew the coloured shapes first, and then designed a character over the top of them, which I thought was a really fun little challenge. It was really refreshing to do as well. Got a bunch more business cards as well. So I was accepted to be a selling artist at the Doki Doki Manchester Japanese Festival in 2019, and because it was my first time selling my work at a comic convention, I did a lot of preparation for this to make sure that my merchandise would be the best I could get it to be. This was just a wedding gift for someone, a little bit more sketchbook stuff. And this was for a collaborative book called The Colours of Us, which celebrated LGBTQ relationships, and all of the profits from the sales went to a charity called the Trust Project. I really enjoyed being a part of this project, and I'm really happy with my final piece for it as well. A bit more sketchbook stuff. Always practice drawing hands. These were just some plans for commissions and drawings. I like to thumbnail all of my work rough first to see which one I think would work for the final illustration. These are for an event called Art Fight. So artists are on two different teams and you draw each other's original characters for points in the hope that your team will win at the end of it. It's really fun to just draw someone else's characters for a little bit. It's quite refreshing. You're not drawing just the same thing all the time because it's quite easy to get into a pattern of doing that. It's really good for engaging with art communities online as well. I would definitely recommend it if it's something you would be interested in. A bit more sketchbook work. These were my final designs for the Doki Doki Manchester Japanese Festival. I did the final illustrations separately and then I lightboxed them so that I could just ink straight onto my nice paper without having to use a pencil or rub anything out on top of my nice paper. More sketches. I love putting plants in my sketchbooks as well. Very inspired by nature. Some of my final designs for Doki Doki have to be coloured. For this design I did for Doki Doki, I left this bit blank and then I went over them in washi tape so that every single one of these, they had a different pattern on the kimono, which I thought was really fun to do, and they seemed to be well received as well. On here, this was after I attended Manchester MCM Comic Con. I just wanted to write about some artists that I thought were really inspiring when I came back from that event. I drew my cosplay when I came back as well. These were just some thumbnails for a cyberpunk themed art competition. It's a theme that I kind of struggle with a little bit, but I still had a lot of fun doing design for it. I went with this thumbnail in the end for it. This one is for Inktober from last year. I've done the full event for a whole month before, but this year I wanted to focus on a different event, so I only did the one entry, but I had a lot of fun with this one. These were for Doki Doki as well, and just some rough sketches over here. So these were thumbnailing for an event that was held online. It was like a big collaborative project that was fashion themed. That was a lot of fun to be a part of as well. I like experimenting with comics where I can as well. I feel like I should experiment more with comics as well. These were just to experiment with inking with a dip pen as opposed to fine liners. So I just wanted to have a little bit of a free sketch with them. I ended up really liking them, so I do all my work with dip pens now anyway. This was my final piece for the cyberpunk themed competition. I didn't place in the actual competition, but this piece was featured in a concert on stage a couple months later, and that was absolutely incredible. I'll never forget that. And this was the final piece for the fashion themed collaborative project online. I think it's been held again this year, so I'd love to take part in it again. It was a lot of fun. These were the final prints I did for Doki Doki. I really liked how all the colours work together. I think the paper is really nice, but I'd love to do more merchandise that has more of a background to it. I just think they look nicer in printed form. These were some commissions I did on the day of Doki Doki, and I did this as an advertisement piece that they used across social media as well. Some thumbnails for some Pokemon trainer commissions that I've been doing, and these are just some doodles. A bit of scrapbooking. This was for an art challenge called Huevember. So every day in November you would create a piece that was centered around one colour, and then by the end of the month you would go around the whole colour wheel, which looks really satisfying by the end of the month. I decided to do mine sort of Pokemon themed, and I did all of the illustrations based on the old game sprites where they'd only use 1 or 2 colours. I had a lot of fun with this. I definitely want to do this again. These were some photos from the Taki Kate exhibition in Liverpool. Illustrations were absolutely beautiful. I definitely recommend looking him up. And some photos from the arcade club in Bury, which was a day trip me and some friends took. I really like old games. I just really like the arcade as well in terms of aesthetics. And me and a friend went to the Pokemon Centre in London whilst they had their pop-up shop there. I've always wanted to go to the Pokemon Centre, so we just couldn't miss the opportunity. It was really cool to be there. I went to go watch an anime movie called Promare in the cinemas when it came out. I immediately had to do some fan art for this film as soon as I came home. I ended up going to watch it twice. I thought it was such a beautiful movie. Just some photos of some commissions that I've been doing. I do freelance work alongside university, so I often do commissions on the side. And these were just some Christmas drawings I did for my friends. The actual drawings were quite small. I wanted them to be able to fit in the Christmas cards, but everyone seemed to really like them, so it was definitely worth drawing them all. I wanted to finish the book with some sketchbook work and just some washi tape swatches, because I think it's really satisfying. So, and that is it from me. I hope that you enjoyed watching this and maybe even be inspired to do some sketchbooking yourself. Thanks for watching!
Thank you for downloading this resource and working through the session. So that we know whether it was useful for you, we'd really appreciate it if you could please complete the survey following the link provided. It should only take a few minutes and really helps us in designing new content and resources for yourself and other young people. If you complete the survey, you'll be entered into a prize draw to win £25 of Amazon vouchers, so it's definitely worth doing. If you have any questions, you can ask us through our website, www.highhorizons.co.uk/ask. Thank you.